we talked about like how you can do the wall riding up and stuff and getting some
Yeah.
value out of that. We also talked about the flank value and like sort of understanding tempo in terms of like pick potential when they have like multiple ultimates advantage and you don't. So thinking about like, you want to go for shield break pressure, do you want to go for and start a fight so the tanks can't take space on you versus trying to like go for more picks and stuff.
So with this game, I felt like in terms of positioning and not dying, I did well, like really well, but I felt like I could have done more. Cause two fun facts. This is actually the first match Hydron has played as support in 11 seasons. Not like placements, like his first match.
Mhm.
And he also had gold damage at the end of the game. He just kept dueling the Widow. But it was a big game because obviously Hydron McGravy and then their Zen is Craggy and
Oh my god.
their Tracer is Dynasty and Sigma 69 is I think it's Hawk. So it was
Holy shit.
it was a pretty big game in terms of just like people who are actually good at the game.
Sort of just popped off.
Yeah, that's about most of the poppage you'll get. I think I do a little bit more here, just like on the attack after force point, but the rest of the match, I feel like I'm applying pressure well, but I'm not
Stop
like,
jumping
getting
aggressively.
kicks.
You're jumping in a lot instead of jumping out.
That's also something I've been trying to work on more is because I used to just spam jump just because I had it. Same thing with Kree's, like I would roll just because I had it, and I've been trying to consciously like tell myself like don't jump, don't roll. And I've
also
noticed
should
that,
be like using your like mobility to get like better positioning. Like that.
How do you mean with that?
Like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because if you just logically think about this, right? If you're that Hanzo, okay, and you see and you're shooting an enemy Hanzo, would you expect a Hanzo to be up here?
No.
Right.
Well,
So,
yeah.
like, yeah, right. So that's sort of what I'm getting at, is like using that to your advantage. Also headshots, just pressure. Your movement reading is really weird. What I mean by that is like it feels like you don't dynamically assess movements for different things. It's like I also want to see a few things. Just one minute. Just wait.
A few moments later.
I forgot what I was looking at over there. But what I'm getting at is sort of like the movement of ball seems to really mess with you, and you don't fully understand the tempo where ball's kiting. But for Zen, you like got it fully, so it's just sort of weird. Because like, you're like it's sort of weird, but you're hitting more shots on like squishies than you are on like ball when he's just rotating. And I think also you just use Sonic terribly.
No,
I'm really bad. like a lot of times you already have like location of what you want to do and you Sonic there instead of shooting, and like the first shot you do that literally just tells the enemy team you're there, and then what was I gonna say, like the first shot you do that tells the enemy team you're there and they go for cover. So if you Sonic first and then you shoot after, that's just not inherently good. It's different
Yeah,
if
I feel like
you're like hiding or something, right? But like this type of stuff is just absolutely useless. Like what you should be doing is sonicking left, right, then shooting there. Then the enemy team thinks, hey, I'm Sonic, so they're gonna shoot me. The enemy team needs to be passive. Then you shoot another angle, and then after that angle you're done, right? Then you can go back there because you've Sonic.
Yeah, I think I don't know, because I've been trying to learn Hanzo a little bit too. Just because I feel like you're talking about like on the Havana match as well. Like there's just a lot of situations in which he's kind of like just needed. And I feel like a lot of times what I use Sonic for is like more personal, just like trying to see like if they're gonna peak, when they're gonna peak, even though I know that if they're Sonic, they're not gonna peak because they're Sonic. So it's something that I've been kind of trying to work on. Like trying to use it to scout more. So like, there was a match the other day where I was able to like get a Sombra, and I was able to like force her out because I would be Sonicking like around where I knew she would be. But yeah, let's a lot of I feel like a lot of the cooldown usages are really bad.
Okay. But yeah, but do you get what I'm saying? How you can bait and stuff with it?
Yeah.
Okay. So like you could start shooting these people on the left. I know I'm pointing, but, like over there. Then you
Yeah.
Sonic it. You go back. You chill. Then you start shooting the people to BAP, who's over there. People over there think you're gonna shoot them, but you're not. Right? Then you shoot these people. Then you go back later because you have Sonic and you get value. And that's just inherently better. And also you don't like just tell the enemy team you're like there because like you're Sonicking. Instead of Dragon, you could kill the BAP, but I guess you can still end up killing the BAP, so. Dude, stop!
Yeah, I'll show.
Oh! I'm gonna stop talking about Sonic, I think you get it.
Yeah.
Also, like, if, like based on the other like people they have, right? Like, you can like change it to like deal with flankers or like more mobility or other stuff. Like again, like I'm pointing out, like why would you even Sonic that? Like, there's literally no point in Sonicking that. Why? Because like you know the Zen's there. The Zen's not going anywhere. You can't shoot the Zen. Sonic something else, right?
Yeah.
And then you can come over here, and like when you're coming over here, maybe you Sonic Cart, right? So when you're coming over here, now you have a Sonic on Cart, so you already know where they are. In fact, what you can do is you can literally like, when you come over here, you could shoot, do your damage here, or whatever you want. Like you do your damage, and then the last fight before you get slow, maybe you could throw a Sonic somewhere. Obviously, you got forced out, but let's say like you shot a few shots, you know the enemy is about to shoot you. You shoot a Sonic as last. Then you know the enemy team is. Then you come back out main here, and then you shoot main with your Sonic, and that would get you a lot of value. Because then going into this fight, if you have a Sonic, right, then you sort of already know where the enemy team is, so you can go charge shot and just get an instant shot. See what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
You get like much more value out of your visual cue. Oh, that's just a bad Storm Arrow, but that's fine. You're not inherently playing bad. I think your positioning's decent. I think your angles are actually also quite good in your positioning. I just think how you're using resources is really wonky.
There,
Like,
I didn't realize Diva had already like gone up to mark him, so I was trying to see if he would go around for a slam behind.
like for instance here, I think like Storm Arrowing tanks or Storm Arrow Sigma Shield is like super good. Because they have a Sigma, you have an Orisa. They have a decent amount of poke, you have more poke than they do. They have a better shield than you do though. So if you just sort of Storm Arrow a little bit, like that could be inherently very, very beneficial. That's just ego. The ego, the good ego. And I feel like you use like a bad habit you use is use Storm Arrow a lot for one-on-ones, which isn't bad, right? Because it can help guarantee wins, but it's also like not good because, you know, using it for like shield pressure or like bursting tanks and like helping your front line is also just very good.
Alright.
So, and it's fine, again, it's fine, like you're getting picks, right? Like using a CD and getting a pick off a CD is like worth it. Like if you stun, you know, you flank McCree and you stun, I don't know, the Zen, you kill the Zen off, you know, roll fan the hammer, are you gonna like complain about that if you live? Hell no, it's worth it. But all I'm getting at is if you have certain matchups where like it's gonna be a little bit more useful to like pressure their front line, then, you know, that's worth it.
Yeah. Even though it's not bad, it could be better.
Yeah. Like again, like here, like you got another pick with Hanzo Storm Arrow, that's worth it. But like Hog Sigma Storm Arrow on Hog is like really nice, especially if you're damage boosted. And then I'm gonna keep noticing here, like notice how like sometimes you peek here when you don't have information, when you could have Sonicked it before, but like here it doesn't matter. Or some situations like, you know, you don't need the information because you can already naturally see it. And then like again, like what I'm getting at is like, and I'm still starting to know it more, is like how you predict movements. I think is just, it's not bad, but I feel like you only predict basic movements. Like if someone's moving straight, or if someone's like if someone's moving like, you know, like this, or like back left, like
Yeah.
one way. When people start like going strafing or like, you know, crouch damping or like, you know, go position that you don't know, you get screwed in my opinion. Like your aim just not. So you need to do some Kovacs drills or something to practice that. I'm not like the best like aim coach. I'm not gonna straight up say it. I'm not the best aim coach. But that's like something you definitely like just like watching. I can see that like you're struggling with that. and that's just not good. Like, see, like here you have forward backwards of it, and like you went wide. Like if you just look at this, you went wide as if you thought he was gonna walk more left. Like I wish I could. Can I do this slower? Is it like plus? I think it's minus maybe. There we go. Cool. So here, see. So do you see? So he went and started going left, and he went there. Then he stops, and you're like, okay, he must be going back. So then you shoot far right, and then you try and catch up with your shots because you shoot before you aim, right? And that's a perfect example when you shoot those 3 shots because you shoot before you aim, so you miss those 3 shots. Do you see what I'm getting at? How that like the concept of even of soldiers coming into your Hanzo, you need to aim before you shoot, and then you need to fix this like strafing issue, which is like an underlining problem that's like honestly probably going to prevent you for quite a bit. But once you fix that, I think you'll climb quite hard. Okay. Cool. And like if you need some replay codes, I don't know on top of my head, but I have resources to get them. That's what I'll say.
Right.
Why do I do that? Sorry. Same sort of thing. This isn't like not as bad though. I think it's like sort of reasonable. See, like that makes 0 sense. You're storm arrowing a hog who isn't doing anything right now, instead of like killing some squishies that are close. If the hog is like pushing your team, then it makes sense storm arrowing the hog. But if the hog is like kiting and stuff, you shouldn't be looking to like storm arrow him. Oh boy. Yeah, you're just dead. Oh, you okay? Interesting. They're just like small optimizations, like. And I don't know, like who's the Hanzo on the enemy team?
Dynasty.
Okay. Why is he taking like different angles? He's not really pressured you at all.
Yeah,
He's a good player, but I'm not sure why he's not pressuring you more. That's just weird.
No, I was because
I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, but
well, the main reason I did it is because I was streaming this game to Art, and I climbed up there, and I was like, I wonder if you can get on top of the roof.
Oh, okay.
So I just did it to see if I could. I'm gonna be honest, there was no advantage.
This is like
or
a
anything.
perfect example of sort of like you're going for squishies here, right? That's fine. Then the enemy team's tanks start pushing forward, right? You're still going for squishies, and eventually you're gonna run into a point where you're not getting value on squishies, so tanks inherently are gonna like run your team over, and so just something to keep in mind. You got a pick though. So you see what happened? Your whole like front line just got rolled.
Yeah.
Now
this is
one sec. Wait. So now what I want you to think about is 2 things here. You obviously know the neutral of like, oh sure, my front line's gonna get rolled in certain situations because they have a bit more frontline pressure with actually technically you have more spam again, but like they have more frontline pressure because of one thing. What is the one thing?
Zen.
No, it's actually like what I was getting at is ultimates actually.
Oh.
If you sort of look at like how alts played out this fight, like they had Flux, they had Dragons, they had Blade, they had Nano, right? Now if you start using alts and starts pushing you again, what does that mean? It means your front line's gonna get fucked. So you need to make a playstyle choice of saying, hey, they have 5 ultimates, do I go for picks because I just want to give up my front line and know that they are going to push my front line and I'm gonna have to sort of like off angle and get value when they push in, because you can do that. They'll push out of corners, right? They'll walk up and you can get picks. Or try and prevent them, from easily pushing my front line, storm arrowing their tanks more, and then pressuring their tanks more while also looking for picks. See what I'm saying? But like you're doing that knowing they have like 4 or 5 ultimates, so like that sort of sucks too. So you need to sort of take that into account. And it looks like you were going for picks there, which is fine. But then my question is, were you going like at an aggressive enough angle, get like even more value, or you're playing like a passive sort of position? And like it was sort of like
mixing the two.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Honestly, yeah, mixing like again, they have 5 ultimates, right? You have 2. So who's gonna inherently win that fight?
Team with 5 ults.
Yeah. So now I'm getting at is you have 2 options, right? From there is, do you play for shield break in hopes to get your front line exerts enough pressure that you guys maintain tempo, and even with the ultimates they use, you can sort of still win. That's one way, right? That's gonna be really hard, but that's still one way. The other way is you sort of go for picks. But then the thing is, how aggressive do you go for picks, and when do you go for picks? Do you play like how you positioned right now, or do you go for harder flanks to get more value? For example, you could have like completely went behind them and taken the high ground behind and started shooting them in the butt. Right?
Yeah.
You could have waited for the enemy team to use ultimates and then peeked, and then like when they're like walking forward, shot them too. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
You could have gone for like different flanks based off like the tempo and like, what's happening. Now what you did is you went for a very passive like off angle that like isn't necessarily bad, right? But this is like a very passive off angle. If you go behind them, that's like a 180 flank that's really aggressive. And you know, if you look at like the mobility they have, yes, they have a Genji, so Genji could go on you. Hence, you probably have to be very careful. And the Genji can get orb. They have a Hanzo also. So what I'm getting at is like, you know, understand based off the ultimates and your ultimates how aggressive flanks you want to go, or you know, how, if you want to play to more try and like you know the macro and try and look to pressure their front line and try and get value out of that. And then you got to work on the same because like something like that you shouldn't be missing. But it's because of like I think that one's a little bad still, but like it's because of like the movement I feel like, and I think also based off the targets you're aiming, you shouldn't be like you're flicking like left or right a lot, but based off the targets you should be aiming like in the center or like a little bit like under the head, right, and then flicking like less because that movement's gonna be less. It's a hog. Is a hog gonna like move like a tracer? No.
No.
It's a Hanzo. Is a Hanzo? What's a Hanzo gonna do? Hanzo's gonna jump sometimes, right? So then you have to like realize that, but that's the most Hanzo's really gonna move. You see what I'm getting at? Like your flick distances don't match the actual heroes in which you're shooting for, which is like its own problem as well for aim. And you got to stop like just bursting Storm Arrow instantly when you're getting like CC and stuff. It's a really bad habit a lot of people do. I just don't think it's very good.
What do you mean, like
just yeah, just like doing them all at once, like
okay.
2-3, hit them, reset your aim, especially with your aim being like you shoot before you aim, right? Like reset your aim and then go from there. Because like again, like on tanks, to me, you should be hitting a lot of those shots. I should double back and gone left there after Harmony Orb was gone and look for a more aggressive peak.
I didn't. Okay, yeah. I was gonna say because it's one of those things that I was like getting a little bit scared because I'm not gonna lie, it was like a high SR lobby and like I was kind of just scared of just like getting picked of getting too aggressive.
Yeah, but the thing is, what I'll say is when you start playing high aggressive lobbies, do you think you play passive? Like
no.
you can't
yeah.
like because if you start playing passive, you're like inherently gonna play like you're not gonna get as much value. Another thing to think about too is when you start playing high, it's not even this SR. When you start playing it's like a weird way to look at it, but how I look at it. If I'm playing high masters games, am I really playing versus high masters? No. You're playing versus like low 4.2 probably. If I'm playing low GM, I'm probably playing also versus Smurfs who are probably around like high masters. So once you hit certain SR, right, you're not actually playing at that quote unquote SR, right? You're gonna playing it higher. So that means you have to perform more, and to climb, that means you have to perform much higher than that SR, like just logically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you can't like, you know, buckle down. If you see options like that you think are good, you need to still take them and learn. Like obviously, yes, maybe the enemy team is really good and they punish you. Then you back up and you're like, okay, I can't go for that all the time anymore. But that doesn't mean you don't try it or you don't do it. And please fix your Sonic. We talked about it quite a bit, so you know, I don't disagree with that Sonic. It's like a decent Sonic, but just like it'll be useful. Because you'll inherently get more scouting information, which will give you more shooting options. Like right over here, like look how passive you're playing. And something like general logic, right, is your dragon to me is as valuable as, you know, probably not as valuable as Nano. It's pretty valuable. Like it's better than Window in my opinion. Better than Nano and Trance, a little debatable. But all I'm getting at is, especially in comp, you should be very greedy. If you see Hydron, what is he doing all the time? After fights are over, where is he playing?
Forward.
What?
In front of our tanks.
He's literally just farming damage. Like then that's what you do. You min max, right? And obviously in scrims you won't do this as much because you'll get picked. But in comp you can get away with this stuff because you can. And this is this is something that like if you look at like in some contenders players, they have this inbuilt into them and they get a lot of value just naturally because they know how much they can like pressure and stuff with their DPS or supports or whatever it is. So they know that they can just be more aggressive. They know that they can push the limit on stuff. And that's really, really, really important to like, you know, uh practice and sort of try and implement.
Yeah, it costs 2.
Oh, whoops, that is wrong button. But yeah, so makes sense. So end of fight, spam more. Like look to get more individual value. worth wasting that. Look where your shield is, man. You don't need to position this far back. You don't need to jump up either, because you can literally just wall up. You can save your jump for later. Like, you're so passive here, man. You get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
You have 2 shields now, too. You could easily play the left side of the map and look for, like, more, And notice how, like, every single situation, you just use Storm Arrow whenever you see somebody. And that's because you think that you need to get the final blow, and you don't necessarily maybe not trust yourself to get a kill with, like, a regular shot. But that's, like, again, really bad. You need to assess situations. You don't always need to use Storm Arrow instantly. And, like, again, I get it, right? Because you want to make sure you get the kill. You want to make sure you get the value. And granted, here you messed up. Why? Because your positioning's awkward. You went here, and then after that you went into open space. You should have walled up here, came over here, then play this corner. Or you should have tried to jump and, like, play, like, somewhere over there. But, yeah. Also, I think the enemy teams use some ults that fight. Maybe. I think they used... I'm not actually sure. No, they use Hog ult. Might have fluxed. I think I have a lot of ults, though. Wait, is Punks?
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is either.
Because, I'm pretty sure I checked his profile. That account is Masters like every season.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. Pretty sure it's someone else.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just a Masters player.
Also, don't need to use as many blinks as you needed to there. And to get out, because you can see how many people are on cart. And then from there you can sort of, like, dynamically allocate, you know, how many blinks you need, so that when you go into the fight, actually it would have been better. Like, this is when Sonic's useful. Is that a great Sonic? No, that's a bad Sonic, because it should be in the middle so it can see everything. Like, think about Radius, right?
Yeah.
Okay. One thing you don't do either, if you don't have Sonic right, you can peek and see roughly where somebody is, and then sort of go from there, and then come back and charge your shot, or, like, you know, you could do your own scouting too. It's what you do with Zen on right clicks, right? You peek out, you see where the enemy team is, then you go back, you know, and you go from there. And the reason why that could also be really useful is because if you sometimes peek early, and so if you're playing like Widow, right, or Hanzo, you charge your shots. And if you peek early and the enemy team like how to put this? If you're playing another Hanzo, right, you expect them to do a full shot at you normally, right?
Yeah.
So now if the enemy Hanzo peeks early when it's not a full shot to scout, and then they come back, you're gonna be very confused because you're gonna be like, why is that guy peeking? First of all, I won't expect that, so you can use that to get more scouting information if your Sonic's being used somewhere else or is off CD. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
So I do that with Zen all the time when, you know, for 5 orbs. Also, you should be on an angle right now. Like, you should have pushed high ground, or you could have, like, pushed right. Like, playing there was just not really the best move. I think you win here. I hope.
Yeah, they don't touch.
Their D.Va does not touch.
No.
Their D.Va just literally didn't touch. Like, I'm pretty sure the guy still had jets. No, maybe he ran out, but if he did, that fucking sucks. Okay, questions on Hanzo. I think we talked about a lot of stuff, right? We talked about multiple aim things, right? We talked about how, like, you need to be like understanding the hero that you're shooting at and how that affects your flicking. We talked about, like, actually, like, getting jebaited by movement and, like, not understanding, like, you know, you're used to people walking one way then another way, not really strafing or crouch spamming and stuff like that, or, like, jumping. So, you know, getting used to that and fixing that aim. So, and again, remind me later I can try and dig and find some good codes or talk to some people who are, like, you know, hardcore aimers. And then we talked about, you know, Sonic usage and how to use that differently. We talked about storm arrows and how you're using it like a cooldown at the start of fights instead of, like, logistically using it more. Talked about how to min-max your positioning when you don't be so scared. We talked about how to, you know, position more aggressive, like usually saw Hydron and their spawn almost like spamming to build ult, because that's inherently important. Because something also just realized is, like, when you play higher SR games, no, not everyone's going to be very good, right? When you play scrims, I'm not trying to be mean on people, but like not everyone's going to be insanely good and know how to use their ultimates. So when you play scrims, normally at a high level, people know how to use their ultimates. So that's something else when that's like alt trading. But like here, like if people don't know how to use their ultimates, and you know how to use your ultimate even better, then you building your ult is just inherently better, right? So
Yeah.
that's something too. Trying to think.
Eventually.
Oh, we talked about like how you can do the wall riding up and stuff and getting some
Yeah.
value out of that. We also talked about the flank value and like sort of understanding tempo in terms of like pick potential when they have like multiple ultimates advantage and you don't. So thinking about like you want to go for shield break pressure, do you want to go for and start a fight so that tanks can't take space on you versus trying to like go for more picks and stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Questions. Whatever you
For
think is more
questions
valuable.
on for questions on Hanzo,
Yep.
I definitely I guess this doesn't really pertain to Hanzo as much as just a general, but like the talking about like pushing forward and stuff is I feel like I guess it just might be something because I don't like know the timings of like when I should go forwards and backwards. But the reason I don't know a lot of this is part of the reason because like I'm not gonna lie, it's like a higher SR lobby and I kind of didn't want to like get too aggressive and feed stuff. But I feel like a lot of times is I don't know the timings and I walk forward and I don't realize people are backing out and I
So
die.
here we go for you. One second. Before you say this, what type of this is great. I'm glad you brought it up, and it's my bad for not going more in detail into it. But what type of information will help you game sense otherwise, especially in this matchup, for you to understand if you can hold space or not?
Like I guess where like when the enemies are respawning and like if they have any ults or something that could like catch me off guard and what my team is doing with the ones
Sure,
they
that's
have,
not the biggest one though. There's one that's very straightforward, very easy.
where my tanks are.
More than that, but yes.
I don't know honestly.
Shields.
Okay.
Does your reservist have a full shield? Does your Ryan have a full shield? Is your Ryan shield low? Is your Sigma shield low? Is their shield? What is their shield economy? Right? You see where I'm
Okay.
getting with that? If you're a dive based comp, then
Yeah.
is your tanks hitting? Are their tanks hitting? Both of those things inherently affect pressure and if you can hold space. And obviously alts do
Okay.
too, but that's like a little bit more niche. This is even easier and like more consistent, right? If you look at this first, you'll be like, this is easy to look at. Oh, my Ryan's full shield. Okay, he's gonna be able to hold space for quite a bit.